Welcome to the Consult ROI podcast, where we explore the strategies and insights that drive success in both your career and your personal life. I'm Danny Jessup, grateful to be joined by Cameron Bodley. What's up, Cameron? How's it going?
It's not going too bad. It's been a fun day, so can't complain. Just getting stuff done and making stuff happen and that. And we're gonna see. So as we were talking about before we kind of started this recording, been seeing what we can do to help with some of the tornado stuff that's been going on in Texas and getting the medical supplies out there. So if you guys don't have the means or ability to help anybody out there, there's quite a few people out there right now that are actively helping people. One of those guys is Refuge Medical and Grindstone Ministries. Great people. It's run by TJ Morris. But we are actually right now selling a lot of those kits, which is, if you're watching the video portion, it'll show you right now. It's all these medical supplies and everything else, which any of the proceeds, any of the profits from that are actually going to him this week. So if you guys need something, or if you need to renew your supplies, do any of that stuff, that would be a great time to do it. And it's a great way to help a lot of those people that are struggling right now, just dealing with those things. So
yeah, and this is all available from boldlyfreeamerican.com. Is that right?
Correct. And then just use the code Patriot if you want 20% off that, just to show you what's going on over there. This is actually the videos that he just posted.
Just crazy devastation.
You can see everything's pretty much demolished. There's not a lot.
Unbelievable. Like, it really is. I just can't imagine what it's like to see that on site too, you know, more than just a video.
Yeah, exactly. So luckily, I mean, he's been blessed enough to where he has the machines. He has literally like 5 different skid steers and a lot of dedicated individuals that are willing to go down there, trek down there, and he gets paid enough to where he can at least afford to step away and not have a huge or suffering as far as his livelihood and everything else. But it kind of gets into, he enjoys that, and I think all of us, and that might seem like, oh well, that's additional work, that's not really escape, but that's really the topic of this whole thing, is like, what do you do when you're not working, when you're not in the grind, when you're not doing your W-2 and that, like, what are you doing to either escape, get away? Like one of the things that me and Danny do occasionally, like there's this treasure hunt thing going on right now.
Oh yeah.
And we've been trying to solve this stinking riddle that's been driving both of us, because it's vague enough to where it could mean like 30 different things. But it's a matter of finding all the clues that actually fit together and coincide with a singular place that really is the key, and then figuring out how they think. But the reality is, at least for me, I do a lot of the things, like I'll even take our skid steer and help some of the neighbors and other stuff and do things like that. It's just because I enjoy it. I do business because I really do enjoy it. It's not always fun, but it's still, for me, like, I don't really want to do anything else. That's really what it comes down to, is like, I really don't care to do anything else. I enjoy like being in the grind and being able to build things and make things happen, and have the freedom also to travel down or help people where I can. And
yeah, absolutely.
I always have the means to go down to Texas or anything. And that's where I'm like, okay, well, I at least have the means to be able to help, like point people to where we can help, or provide more resources, or solve problems, or do stuff. And that kind of cores into the tie thing. And that's also, at the end of the day, that's kind of why we enjoy the riddles and the puzzles and everything. Like, we enjoy solving things. We enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. Figuring things out, right? Like, that, like, kind of the basis of entrepreneurship is like just kind of figuring stuff out, right? And you know, author Kim Perrell, she posted a video today, actually. She's like, I was scared when I started my first business. I was scared when I moved my family from LA to Miami. And her point was basically like, it's okay to be scared. Do it anyway, right? So you might not have the knowledge or the wisdom to like know what's on the other side of what you're doing. But I was at a conference, this real estate pro. They just got named number 4th in the nation out of the Maryland and Delaware group. His name's Brandon Brittingham, and he had a slide on there that hit me last year that said, "The success that you're looking for is on the other side of the work that you're not willing to do." It's like, ooh, that's a nice burn to the crowd there. And
that's deep, and it's so true in that, because the reality is, like, how many people will you hear all the time that's like, oh, I just want to have all the money and be able to travel and
yeah,
get these things,
exactly,
all this
right.
stuff. I'm like, okay, you can do that, but you've got to do all this work. Oh, no, 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 no. There's got to be an easier way. There's got to be this. No, I hate to tell you, like, if you want that it reliably and keep it, you're going to have to do this consistency.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, it's like kind of that old adage is like people won't reach for a gain, but they'll protect against a loss. But all they want is to think about that gain, but not reach for it. So it's like you gotta.
Well,
But
those same people will complain, frankly, about, oh, this guy's just a rich prick. He just is driving around in a Ferrari and that. You have any idea how many homeless people you could feed doing that? Blah blah blah. I'm like, that man worked. Like, he put in that work. He deserves the fruit of his labors. Like,
sure.
that's the reality of it. And yes, some of the people did get lucky in that, but typically the luck is like they did a lot of preparation. They did a lot of
Exactly.
things that teed them up,
Capitalized on the
and then they gained
opportunity.
success off of it. And the people that just got lucky and got like wealth, those are the people that are always bankrupt, usually within 6 months.
Yeah,
Like, they
exactly. I
never
mean,
see it.
it's like the lottery winners too, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
boom, they were not prepared for it, right? They just flat out weren't. And so, as you kind of started out there, it kind of reminded me of one of the early episodes of Shark Tank. Robert Herjavec, he said to one of the people on the show, he said, "People that have a need to find success in life, let's see, people who have a drive to succeed in life tend to have a need to be part of something greater than themselves." And so as we kind of talk about like, okay, where we're in the grind doing our thing every single day, but what are some of these things that we don't do that are part of the grind? And that's I think what we're talking about here today is what are these other things that you can find balance, right? You have experts that say you got to have
What can
work-life
you
balance.
do?
You have experts that say you can't have work-life balance. And so outside of that, what are you doing to kind of like stay sane, to serve others, to kind of fill your cup in ways that don't have to do with the business, so to speak?
Well, it's not just that, right? It is. So, like, for example, I don't always enjoy working out, right? But I know that I need to work out and I need to eat healthy and I need to do these things, because otherwise my ability to process things, my ability to work efficiently, my ability to do everything else all suffers. So something that would take me 20 minutes takes me 2 hours, right? So not taking the time and that to prioritize my health, to prioritize that, does have a significant and direct ROI that people don't see, right?
Yeah, so true.
So there
Yeah,
is that. But the other part of it is, like, the other thing that sucks the life out of me that does not have an ROI that sometimes I need to step away from is, like, for example, customer service issues sometimes, and that especially when somebody is complaining and it's very clear that they just want to take something, or they're entitled to something, or whatever the case may be, and they're intentionally trying to cause problems. That takes a severe emotional drain to, like, not take things personally and to process it, and then to be able to respond in a very calculated manner that doesn't make the situation worse, right? So
you
that
don't
is
want to add fuel to that
substantially
fire.
draining. So for me, like, when am I am in that, and I am being emotionally drained from something like that, that is when I will step aside, take a moment and everything to recoup, which is processing on different problems. So that is where I have this sitting right here.
There you go. Nice.
With the notes and everything else. And I even have like some of the other stuff, everything, which is, so if you don't know, this is what we were just talking about with the treasure map. So this is the boundaries in Utah in which it's established that you have to do. And then here is the actual home, and that with different notes that I've done, circling like different verbiage, like things that that I wanted to focus on, what it could mean, etc. And then I have a list of locations on the back, which I am not disclosing.
Oh man,
Me and Danny's got to get that 25. Frankly, if I do get if we get into the 25 part of it, I think we should just do like a nice vacation to the Caribbean or something. I'd like to like kind of pay it forward with some of the us, and then I don't know, just
that'd be awesome.
we'll have to figure out something and everything like cool, either a giveaway or something that I think would be awesome for everyone involved. But that's it. That's if we have enough time, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. But one of the things at the end of kind of the opening for the treasure hunt is that it basically says that the greatest treasure lies not in gold, but in the thrill of the hunt, the joy of the discovery, and the friends you make along the way. And I mean, that's what's been fun about it. So, you know, I don't know if you've been able to get your kids involved or anything like that. You actually got me involved. You know, I've heard about it, saw it on the news, but I didn't like think much of it until after, you know, speaking with you. And now,
well, I'll be honest, like I didn't really do it for just solving it, right? Like I get more thrill out of the puzzle.
the hunt, yeah,
That's the same thing with the business. I get more thrill out of solving the problems in the business than necessarily like the end goal itself.
exactly. Getting that fat check or whatever it is, right? Yeah,
like, I'm not doing the business to make money. I'm doing the business because I enjoy the business. I enjoy what I can bring and how I can bring rewards into other people's lives, whether it's with the IT, whether it's with the medical supplies, whether it's with the other stuff. Like every single aspect or every company I own has very direct rewards and along the way, the journey and everything else. And that's what I love, honestly, about these guys that are doing this treasure hunt in the first place, is the fact that they're great dudes, and with their impact and how they've done it with the social media, and like they've gotten, there's all these people that will post on their social media all the trails that they've gone to and everything else, and a lot of like the combat veterans that I served with and everything else, they all are getting out of the house for the first time in like months. They're like being able to get out to focus on something else, to have some kind of like motivation to get out and about and everything, which has other impacts, right?
100%.
So it's not just about the money. Like everyone's like, oh, why couldn't you just give the 20? Like I will see those comments on the post all the time, which is sad. They do the same thing. You know, you could take that 25 grand and just give it to a charity or something. It's like, but the whole thrill, the seeking, the hunt and everything is the whole like reward. It is providing rewards for countless people.
Oh yeah.
To mental stimulation, physical stimulation,
everything else. Have you ever heard of the Jordan Harbinger show? He's another podcaster and stuff, and does a great job. As he reinvented himself, coming away from the art of charm with his brother, I was on the back end, kind of supporting that crew with Jordan and his team. And one of the things, it's one of his podcasts, somebody legit had done some research or data, but I want to say that they said because of what's that? The Pokemon Go, because of Pokemon Go. And the amount of people that got off their butts, turned it into gamification, and people got out and moved, they extended the human race, the human life by 2 years because of that much movement and engagement that Pokemon Go created. Can you believe that? Like that's really what it's all about, right? Like it's not just like some video game and running up and down the street to capture things digitally. It got people out.
I'm sure there's a few people that got ended early because they started trespassing and doing other stuff.
Oh,
and there was definitely a learning curve, but
it got them off their butts and outside, right? I think that was the point
was even one of those. I'll be honest. Like
I've never played it, by the way, but I love the thought that like they did something that extended human life by a couple of years. Now, randomly couple that with a crazy thought I have about the pandemic. What was supposed to come out of that 2 years of time that isn't going to be invented for another 10 years that I'm going to need, that's going to be life-saving by the time, in another 20 or 30 years. You know what I mean? Because it's like we had like this progression of like education and thought and knowledge and industry and everything. And then the pandemic kind of flatlines everything for a while. What was supposed to be invented at that time that's going to help us all in about 10 or 20 years? You know what I mean? Because it flatlined, so.
Well, I would honestly argue that everything relapsed, and it got worse in that because people's mental health relapsed. I know for a
Sure.
fact.
Right.
People's physical health and that relapsed. Like some people did take the initiative, right? But when you don't have your mental mind in order, it's very hard for your physical. And as a direct result of both, your mental has a direct health or like direct correlation to your physical health. So if you don't have a great mental health, you will not have great physical health. You don't have great physical health, you don't have a great immune system.
Yeah,
You don't have a great immune system, you are more likely to get sick. Kind of
yeah,
funny how that
exactly.
works.
Yeah, it really is. Now, this is not professional advice or medical advice or anything. However, I lost
This is
15 pounds during the
industry
pandemic.
recognized advice.
Yeah,
It's by
exactly. Right.
anybody.
But yeah, shocking to me during the pandemic, I was in the best health and shape of my life. Meaning I dropped 15 pounds mountain biking with my daughter's high school team, mountain bike team as a parent ride leader. But I got to a weight that I had not seen in 20 years. And I quite frankly did not think that I'd ever see again. And that was during a time when
I know for a fact that there is several guys that are watching this video right now that are in like the 360s or whatever that are looking at you and your video and you're like, fuck this dude. He's like, oh, he's never. It's like, but we both have this thing that's called pregnant stick syndrome, and that where you look really skinny and then it turns out.
oh man. Yeah, it's the dad bod, it's like, who cares about the dad bod? Like I want to be mentally, physically, emotionally there for myself, for my family, my community. And yeah, that's really what was a result of doing that hard work. I didn't love
People
yes.
correlate skinny with healthy and that, and the reality is especially when you're skinny or out of shape or anything else, like you can still be skinny fat, meaning that you can still have a lot of that yellow fat that forms around your organs. And that's why even skinny people could die like diabetes or heart failures or other stuff, right?
Yep.
Because they just don't eat, which is why they stay skinny. But at the same time, like I know for a fact that you probably could stay the same weight, if not gain weight, and still be healthier just because you're transitioning all that fat into muscle mass.
Sure. And that's what happened my first year of being that parent ride leader. Like my weight consistently stayed the same. And I was a little frustrated, but yeah, I think it was that muscle mass that was developing. But then, yeah. Yeah, turning that corner to earn the right to then burn off, excess fat and stuff like that. Like I was proud of myself. I really was.
Well, that's so this is kind of deviating, but if you can do something
extracurricular things, right? Of what we're doing, like outside of the grind.
Well, for me, like one of my recoup things that I like to do is I'll go on a bike ride, I'll take my dogs, and then I'll have like some mental solitude up a river, go like literally soak in the river, and that is ice cold. That's pretty much like my ice bath at that point, because you're just like pouring sweat and everything because you just went up this whole hill up the mountainside with the dogs are all dying and that they're wading into the river too because they're overheating, and it's relaxing. It's like this serenity thing because all you can hear is like nature and the river and that. But it does several things, obviously. One is when you physically exhaust yourself, it kind of gives you that where it clears all the junk, the stress and everything else out of your mind. And then it allows you to kind of have some deeper thoughts or problem solving capabilities. It's the same reason, like sometimes, like when we're in the root of things and we're overwhelmed by everything and we're trying to solve a problem, sometimes the best thing that we can do is just refocus it. Like step back,
Yes.
work it out,
Step away
like
from it.
work on
Yep.
something else and everything that we need to accomplish. Again, my favorite thing to do is something that involves physical exercise, whether that's Pokemon Go, whether that is
Riding the bike,
the
getting out with the
treasure hunt.
dogs. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fixing,
exactly. Stuff
maybe
that
one of your
needs to get
machines.
done, and that even if it's grabbing a sledgehammer and breaking up some concrete, like that takes out a lot of energy, like very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
But
there's I
it
think it's so true. Like it's so important to, if you are frustrated, hitting that wall, need a hard reset, to do step away and step back from it. The same thing with reading a book, if you're not feeling or getting through it, like pause, go read something else for a little bit, it's simple as that. And then come back to it when you're in a better
well,
mindset
not
to
even
deal with
reading
that
something,
information.
like a lot of the time too, like if you can't focus mentally, it's usually because your body has so much pent up like energy, if you will. And it's basically, like if you have kids, this, right? If they have sugar, if they haven't gotten their exercise, if they haven't gotten out of the house, if they haven't done stuff, they act out. They
Yep.
don't behave normally or anything else. But yet you take them to a park, you do this other stuff and everything, and then they behave great. And then there's the other side where they didn't get sleep, they didn't get food, they didn't do anything, and then they get hangry, right?
Oh yeah.
So our body's natural behavior, like if we notice that we're getting angrier than we should, if we are feeling more stressed, more anxious, more mentally exhausted, whatever else, that is where we are talking about is what can you do to take those mental breaks, to recoup, to reevaluate, and everything else. It's these are symptoms in our body that we are doing or seeing, and we're adults, so we should know the problem. Like we know when we're getting hangry. I know when I'm about ready to rip off somebody's face and everything because I haven't eaten all day, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
I need to address that, get some energy and everything else, recoup that, and then it sets me up for success for whatever problem I'm trying to solve and everything else. So
Yep.
again, you can do multiple things though. So I can have food, which addresses the hangry issue, and I can also like do some mental stimulation for something else and everything. I can read and I can do a podcast and everything. I can do other things that I enjoy, or even a video game and that while I'm eating, and just say, hey, I have a half hour and everything. This is my recoup time. I focus on that, block out everything else. And then when I am ready to get out of that and that deadline is met, great. Now
Yep.
I have that ability to actually really get some effort or exercise.
Real
It's the same
concentrated
thing I
focus
noticed
work.
even with and this might not work for everyone. But don't knock it though until you actually give it a true like try. But for me, this was my routine for a very long time, and it was by far when I had the most progress, the most success, the most anything in my life. So I wake up at usually 4 to 5 in the morning. It's usually around 4:30. If is right when it would happen, which I hated. I'm not a morning person. I'm a night person, and that mornings suck. But I've noticed that when I do get up early, my days go better.
Sure.
So wake up at 4:30. I would be to so this is an LDS temple. I would go do temple sessions and everything early morning. And this was like my spiritual like awakening type deal, like refocus and that rehone on what's important to me, what I want to build, what I want to focus on, how I can better serve others and do that stuff. And then as soon as I was done with that, I'd get back and I would do literally 40-minute interval or HIIT training, high intensity interval training, which then mentally, like physically exhausted myself for a little bit. I would then shower, get breakfast made. At that point, I was obviously eating,
Yep.
and that literally set the day to where I became so much efficient, even though I was taking literally more time out of my day to accomplish these things, because it
Yep.
was literally a 3-hour block essentially of the first part of my day.
Yeah.
But yet I accomplished 10 times more things in my day just by doing that simple routine every morning, at least 5 days a week.
Yeah. Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, I think Ed Milet talks about of having 3 days in one, it's broken down into 8-hour blocks, right? And so all these different things of just really maximizing, being real intentional with your time is going to allow you to be more focused and concentrated during the high production times that you need to be during the day on those things. And then gives you the time and ability to be focused in others. So, hey man, this has been a great conversation here. I think we could keep going all day on all these extracurricular things of how to deviate from the main grind so that we can show up for the main grind and find that and achieve that success. And I think that's the point, is that, like, to do it, to get out there, find some things. If you don't have some hobbies or interests, or taking time out for yourself to get some exercise or get out and do something different than just the grind, do it and see what happens, where you can find a deeper, richer, more meaningful success in all areas of your life.
Fill your buckets. That's really, at the end of the day, you can't pour from an empty cup, and you can't squeeze water out of rocks, right? So what can you do to recoup that? And what are you making sure to make sure your mental, your body, your mind, everything else is all filled to where you can then pour into other people.
Yep,
and that's
100%.
really where you get the most success, right? So hopefully you guys got some value out of that. I know some of this is redundant, but at the end of the day, there's no secret to success. There's no secret to anything else. This is all going to be somewhat redundant stuff, but hopefully the way we say it and the way that we change the verbiage and everything does help inspire you, does help give you different inspiration that you need to make some of those changes, or different ways that you can do things to be more successful and to find better fulfillment in your life. So we appreciate you joining us on this podcast. Danny, do you have any final thoughts?
No, this is great. Just to echo what you said. I mean, just think about that. Think about things that you could do with real intention in your life to find better balance. So sounds great.
All right. Well, again, thank you guys. Please like, share this podcast. And that really, truly means the world to us. And that we can't grow, we can't expand, we can't help other people in that if nobody talks about us. So it takes you literally 2 clicks. Just click share and that, or just even say a simple thought like, hey, this was a podcast and this is how it helped me. Or, you know what? I actually disagree with it. That's perfectly fine. Disagree with it. Tell us why. And it helps us to make more dynamic content or understand like different points of view, which I love. So until then, we'll catch you next week. Have a great one.
Peace.